Okay, so ballet. It's always kind of fascinated me, but I'll be honest, it's a little intimidating too, you know?
Yeah, I get that.
All that elegance and complexity. It's like trying to learn a whole new language,
It kind of is in a way.
but instead of words, it's all these graceful movements.
Exactly.
Luckily for us, though, we've got Ballet Illustrated Mastering Techniques and Vocabulary as our guide today.
Perfect place to start.
So no need to sign up for years of dance classes just to follow along, right?
No, not at all. Although,
Haha, I know, nothing beats the real thing.
there's nothing quite like it.
But for now, we're diving into the theory and history. Speaking of which, when I think ballet, I immediately think France.
Of course, the French connection is huge.
But our source mentions something about its roots going back even further.
Oh, absolutely. We often pigeonhole ballet as this purely French art form,
Right.
but you trace it back, and you find yourself back in the Italian Renaissance.
Whoa, serious.
Oh yeah, those early court dances, things like the Italian ballo,
Ballo. Sounds familiar.
where we get the word ballet from. And these dances, they directly influenced what we know as ballet today.
Wow, so it's like this whole lineage going way back.
Exactly. And even the terminology reflects that heritage.
Ah, so the words themselves tell a story.
They really do. It's like a bridge between centuries of dancers.
So instead of just learning a bunch of fancy French words, I'm actually unlocking like a secret code
That's a great way to put it.
passed down through history. Now that's way cooler than I expected.
I know, right?
So this code, it's more than just the steps then.
Oh, it's much more. It's the key to unlocking a universal language of movement. It's how dancers from all over the world, no matter what languages they speak, can communicate and understand each other.
That's incredible. I never thought about it like that. So are you telling me that a plie in Paris is the same as a plie in Tokyo?
Absolutely.
Wow.
And that's the beauty of this standardized vocabulary. It ensures consistency and precision, whether you're practicing in a small studio or performing on a grand stage.
Okay, you've officially piqued my curiosity. Let's unpack these fundamental codes, these building blocks of ballet. What are we looking at?
Well, it all starts with the 5 basic positions.
Okay.
These might seem simple at first glance, but they form the bedrock of every graceful movement you see on stage.
I've heard of those. Don't they involve some serious outward rotation of the legs?
You're talking about turnout.
Yes. Turnout.
And yes, it's crucial, but what's fascinating is that those positions aren't just about aesthetics, they're about physics and biomechanics. It's about maximizing strength and stability, allowing for a greater range of motion and those seemingly effortless transitions between steps.
Okay, I'm starting to see it's more than just pointing your toes and looking pretty.
Exactly. It's about understanding how your body works as an instrument of expression.
So we've got our foundational codes, the 5 positions. What comes next in this language of ballet? What are some of the first words a dancer learns?
Ballet Illustrated highlights 3 basic movements:
Hmm.
the plie, the releve, and the tendu.
Okay.
Each one builds upon those core positions,
Hmm.
adding another layer of complexity and expression.
All right, before we jump into those, can we rewind for a sec? I remember reading about a helpful image for achieving the correct arm placement in first position. Something about a giant beach ball.
Ah, yes. It's a surprisingly effective visualization, isn't it?
It really is.
Imagine holding that beach ball right in front of you, arms gently curved around its form.
Okay, yeah.
That's the feeling you're aiming for, a sense of roundness and openness, not stiffness.
Okay, that makes so much more sense now. And it's a good reminder that even seemingly simple positions require attention to detail.
Precisely. Every nuance, every subtle shift in weight or alignment plays a role in creating the overall harmony and fluidity of movement.
I'm starting to see that ballet is all about precision and intention. So let's talk about those first words. Plié, relevé, tendu. What makes them so important? They sound so elegant. But I imagine there's a lot going on beneath the surface, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Each one is so fundamental.
Okay.
Let's start with plie,
Plié.
often considered like the heartbeat of ballet.
The heartbeat.
Yeah, it's that essential. And it's a bending of the knees,
Okay.
smooth and controlled, outward over the toes,
Mm-hmm.
which, might sound simple,
Right.
but it's the foundation for so many more complex steps.
So every impressive leap or turn we see in a ballet performance, it all starts with a well-executed plié.
Exactly.
It's the hidden powerhouse behind all the grace.
I love that, the hidden powerhouse. And Ballet Illustrated really emphasizes how crucial the quality of that plie is, especially for protecting a dancer's knees.
Oh, that makes sense. All that impact.
A deep, fluid plie. It absorbs the impact, distributes force evenly, prevents strain.
Okay, so it's like a built-in shock absorber for those gravity-defying moves.
Exactly.
What about releve? That sounds a bit more elevated.
It certainly is. It literally means raised or lifted. It's
Okay.
all about rising up onto the balls of your feet, engaging those calf muscles, finding your balance. Imagine reaching for something just beyond your grasp. That feeling of extending upward, lengthening through your entire body. That's the essence of a releve.
I can see how that would build strength and poise. Okay, and then there's tandu.
Tandu.
It sounds almost scientific.
It does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It translates to stretched,
Okay.
and it involves extending your leg and foot along the floor, brushing your toes outward to a point. Our source talks about how important it is to imagine that pointed foot drawing a line,
Line.
a long and elegant line through the floor.
Ah, so it's not just about sticking your leg out, it's about creating that sense of elongated movement, like a calligrapher's stroke.
Yes, exactly.
So,
And the beauty of Tandu is its versatility. It can be the starting point for more complex steps or a graceful transition between them, adding that fluid connectivity to a dancer's movements.
this is fascinating. It's like each of these movements, these words in the language of ballet, they each serve a specific purpose,
They really do.
both technically and artistically.
Absolutely.
It's about strength, control, and expression, all rolled into one.
It's incredible to see it all come together, isn't it?
It is. So as dancers master these foundational elements, what comes next? What's the next level in this language?
Well, that's where things get really exciting, because now we're talking about jumps.
Jumps. Okay, now you're speaking my language. Tell me more about these jumps.
All right, so Ballet Illustrated touches on a couple of beginner-friendly jumps,
Okay.
including the sauté and the échappé.
Ooh, those sound familiar. I might even be able to picture them. Sort of. Give me a refresher.
Okay, so picture the sauté.
Okay.
Think of it as a ballet hop.
Aha.
Yeah, springing lightly off both feet and landing softly back in the same position.
Okay, so it's all about that feeling of weightlessness.
Yes, like a graceful little bounce.
It's amazing how much power and control goes into making those jumps look effortless.
Oh, absolutely. It's incredibly demanding.
I imagine alignment is crucial here.
You're absolutely right. And our source really emphasizes that, especially as dancers progress to more advanced movements.
Mhm.
Proper technique isn't just about aesthetics, it's about preventing injuries. Remember those basic positions we talked about?
Right.
They provide the stable foundation for everything that comes after, including those gravity-defying leaps.
It's all starting to connect now. Those seemingly simple positions are like the bedrock of a dancer's technique, allowing them to move with power, grace, and most importantly, safety.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've got sauté, which is like our ballet hop. What about échappé? What does that one look like?
So échappé, it literally means escaping or slipping away.
Okay. I'm intrigued. How does that translate to a jump?
Well, imagine starting in a closed position, feet together,
Okay, got it.
and then with a little jump, you push off the ground, separating your legs outwards as if they're, well, escaping from each other.
Haha, I love that. So it's like a graceful separation and then a controlled return.
Exactly. And just like with sauté, that emphasis on proper alignment is key.
Right, got to protect those knees. It's amazing how these seemingly simple jumps highlight the importance of those foundational elements we talked about earlier.
It all comes back to those basics, doesn't it?
It really does. Okay, so we've covered plié, relevé, tendu, sauté, and échappé. I feel like I'm actually starting to grasp this whole ballet vocabulary thing,
Hmm.
but there's one more term our source mentioned that I wanted to touch on.
Oh, and it's a good one.
Lines. I have to admit, when I first read that, I thought we were talking about the lines I'm reading off this script.
I can see how that would be confusing.
Right. But we're actually talking about the lines a dancer's body creates in space. The elegant curves of their arms, the long extensions of their legs, the way they hold their head and torso. It's like their entire body becomes this instrument for drawing these beautiful shapes.
That's a wonderful way to put it.
So are we saying that these lines are just about looking pretty?
No, not at all. While aesthetics are definitely a part of it, these lines go much deeper.
Deeper, how so?
They convey emotion, intention. They can even communicate the subtlest shifts in mood or narrative. Think about a dancer with a long, flowing line. It might evoke a sense of grace, elegance, maybe even vulnerability.
Right. And then contrast that with a dancer who's using sharp, angular lines.
Exactly. that could convey strength, defiance, even anger.
So it's like their body becomes a brushstroke painting a picture in the air.
I love that analogy.
It's amazing how much these lines add to the overall storytelling of ballet.
They really do. And what's even more fascinating is how this visual language of lines intertwines with another crucial element of ballet, the music.
Oh, right. We can't forget about the music. It's like the heartbeat of the performance, isn't it?
It truly is. And Ballet Illustrated actually points out something I'd never really considered before.
Oh, what's that?
It's the role of the accompanist.
Ah, the accompanist.
They're kind of like the unsung heroes of the ballet world.
They really are. You're right. We don't often think about them, but they're right there, bringing the score to life.
Exactly. They create this dynamic soundscape that breathes life into the movements. It's a collaboration, a partnership.
It's like they're a silent partner in the dance, adding a whole other layer of expression and emotion. I know our source mentioned this idea of preparation in ballet music.
Right. Preparation. It's those introductory bars you hear before the dancers even move.
Right,
It's like
right.
setting the stage,
Hmm.
establishing the tempo, the mood, even hinting at the emotional tone of what we're about to see.
Oh, so it's not just a musical intro. It's actually giving us, the audience, a little heads up.
Exactly. And it cues the dancers in on what's to come.
And here's where I found it really interesting. Ballet Illustrated points out that the length of the preparation can vary dramatically.
It really can.
Sometimes it's just a few measures, and other times it's this extended overture, building that anticipation. Think about like the dramatic opening of Swan Lake.
Oh, perfect example.
That sense of foreboding, it's established right from those first haunting notes.
It's incredible how the music can do that.
It really is. I'm definitely going to be paying way closer attention to those musical cues from now on. I had no idea.
It's like listening to the language of the dance before you even see it.
That's a great way to put it. This has been an amazing deep dive. I feel like I've gained a whole new vocabulary, not just for talking about ballet, but for actually seeing it.
And that's the beauty of it. You don't need to be a dancer to appreciate the artistry and athleticism, the history and storytelling woven into every movement.
Absolutely. And, if I had to pick one word from our ballet dictionary that really stuck with me today, it's lines.
Lines.
It's amazing how expressive just a simple line created by the body can be.
It's the essence of ballet, isn't it? Transforming simple movements into something visually stunning and emotionally resonant.
Beautifully said. Well, that's about all the time we have for our deep dive into the world of ballet. But I have a feeling this is just the beginning of our exploration.
I'm sure of it.
Ah.
There's always more to learn and appreciate.
Always. A huge thank you to our expert for joining us on this journey.
It was my pleasure.
And to our listeners, we hope you learned something new today. And who knows, maybe you'll be inspired to check out a ballet performance or two. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep that love of knowledge alive.